Hello, I'm Svitek, 360 Creative Coach. And when it comes to artists, many successful creative people will point to habits, routines, and most of all, consistency as the foundation upon which to find that success. And yes, that is all correct. But how do you kind of begin is what I often look for, and the trouble that most people have is getting into that rhythm where they have that consistency day in, day out, week to week, month to month. And I want to explore that and give you a tip to allow for that, right? But before I fully dive into it, I would like to invite you to subscribe if you haven't already. That way you get all the various lessons and episodes that I put out right when I put them out. Thank you if you just did, and thank you if you already were. It truly does mean a lot to me, as I hope it does to you. So, let's get into this. What people underestimate about any creative project is the physicality involved in that project. You know, it seems so simple, let's say writing, that, okay, I'm going to sit at a desk and write. And they look at it as a mental exercise. And of course it is. But it also takes stamina to sit at that desk for 1 hour, 2 hours, potentially 3 hours, however long that you want to write. Now, those of us who are starting off and, we might not have as much time to dedicate, so I'm going to kind of use that hour to 2 hour range, every few days or whatever. Whatever your schedule is, which in essence becomes the first part of it. Create an actual schedule that works based on what you have going, right? If you have a 9-to-5 job or other commitments, find pockets of time and commit to those pockets to write. And then when you begin writing, even if nothing happens, just sit at the desk so you get acclimated to that, right? It really is that sense where if you just get used to it from a physical standpoint, mentally things will follow, right? Because your body's not used to that. And then your wandering, chattering mind is like, okay, this feels uncomfortable. Maybe if we do this, maybe if we do that, right? It's like if you ever have begun meditation, the first time you do it, your mind won't shut the hell up. But the more you do it, the more practiced you become at it. And so this is kind of like that. Now, of course, this goes beyond just writing. It applies to being a musician. It applies to filmmaking. It applies to painting. It applies to all kinds of aspects of the creative process, right? It's also why I talked about, for me, when I was heading into my second feature film, in terms of the production, I knew that it would be a grind and it would be 2 weeks. Like we would just, for me, essentially, it would be nonstop for 2 straight weeks, and we had a lot to do. And so I was getting in good physical shape because I knew it would have wear and tear on my body, and so I wanted to be physically prepared for that. So these are all, this is another point of why just maintaining a good lifestyle in general is beneficial to you, right? Because you'll have that energy required to create the material that you want, right? And especially as artists who are starting off, right? As I mentioned, we only get limited pockets of time, and when it's on top of everything else that life is inevitably throwing at us, by that point, it could be the 19th hour of the day type of thing, and you're just so damn exhausted. The last thing that you want to be doing is, anything creative, because you just spent. But if you have that physicality and you work on that, then you will have the stamina required to be able to do that. And it doesn't mean burn yourself out or anything of that nature. But yeah, unfortunately, especially as we're starting off, it has to be on top of everything else, because you need to make money. You need to go grocery shopping and things like that. Like if unless you're someone really blessed and privileged, the money's not there to, just order Postmates and be able to dedicate time, full time, to whatever creative act it may be. And so we have to take care of that stuff and then fight for not the scraps, but, in essence, that to build out those creative times and work on those. And that's the hard part. And it's both, in that sense, a mental fight, right? You have to overcome that negative voice that says, yeah, this is hard, because it is. Hence why I'm a 360 creative coach who believes in the mental aspect being equally as important as talent, but also the physicality aspect is important in this because, your body needs to be on that level to help you out, So it's an aspect of creativity that I think is often overlooked. And I just wanted to highlight it for those reasons, right? So, yeah, maintain good health physically, right? Also mentally, obviously. But then when you are at the inception point of a project, you're ready to begin, just make it a point to literally be at the desk or wherever it is that you're creating and stay there for the duration of the time that you have chosen. Because in that sense, it is a physical act and you have to acclimate your body into that. So that's my piece of advice when you are beginning projects or just beginning for the first time, right? So I hope this helps. I hope you take it to heart. As always, if you have any thoughts or questions of your own, comment down below or hit me up on social media at Svitek. I would love to chat with you there. Likewise, if you appreciate what I do, well, there is, of course, my coaching, which is an option to you if you think you would benefit from that. If that seems a little bit too steep, no worries. That's what my Patreon page was designed for. Patreon.com/PhilSvitek. For smaller amounts of support, you get interactions with me where I can help you out there. Likewise, if you just want to support me, well, there is, of course, my movies, my books, my merchandise, all that I've been talking about is linked to in the description box. That way, you can just click it there, and supporting even just the secondary things that I'm mentioning here, even if it's not directly helping you out, does help in that way, because by getting to create the art that I get to create, I get to learn and share the information right here freely with you, so that way you benefit, right? So it's very symbiotic and cyclical in that way. Anyway, I've taken up enough of your time. Thank you so much. I appreciate you and hope to see you next time.